at whatever level, they face a gender gap in the workforce. And in countries where the level of human capital is low, it's not surprising to find low levels of female employment. So, for example, only 30 to 40% of working-aged women in the ages of 15 to 64 in India and Pakistan are currently in the workforce. And oftentimes in many parts of this developing Asia region, they're also concentrated in the low productivity and low-paid agricultural sector. For example, women make up less than 1/4 of the non-agricultural workforce in countries such as India, Iran, Pakistan, and Turkey. And even, as you know, in the manufacturing world, there is a gender gap in wages, with women earning far less than men in manufacturing jobs, and of course, rural women tending to be unpaid workers in their family farms. Now, let me talk about some good news. I think that all of us in this room will agree that women's education and closing that gender gap is extremely critical for rectifying many of the inequalities that we find across this region. And let me specify a few channels where girls' education, in particular, can improve what I call household welfare, so at the kind of micro level. First off is higher wages and better jobs. Women's wages increase with schooling, in many cases faster than men. In particular, the returns from one extra year of schooling are proportionally higher for women than men. And there are studies conducted around the world which show that the rate of return for each additional year of schooling translates into roughly 10%. 10% is huge. A second channel is lower fertility. Educated women tend to have fewer children. And there are also studies that show that for every 2 or 3 years of education, a woman is likely to have one less child. Women with a secondary or higher education tend to delay marriage and to have more control over the spacing of their children, which obviously helps contribute to better health for both the mother and the child. In contrast, these studies show that male schooling has an insignificant or even positive effect on fertility. Third is lower mortality. Maternal mortality is still a significant cause of death for young women. Declines because obviously educated women are far more likely to receive antenatal and postnatal care. The World Bank estimates that an additional year of schooling for 1,000 women could help prevent 2 maternal deaths. Fourth is better health. Education allows mothers to make better medical decisions and better use of medical services, of course, for both themselves as well as their children. Fifth channel is entrepreneurial success. Global studies of entrepreneurship show that higher education improves the chances that a female-run entrepreneurial business will make that critical transition from startup to an established business. And finally, 6 is intergenerational benefits, especially in the developing world. Studies consistently show that women allocate more resources to food and to children's health and education of their own children, and that these children are likely to study more. I, in fact, think of these 6 channels of benefits for household welfare, this last one of intergenerational benefits is perhaps the most powerful. Turning to macroeconomic benefits of increased women's education, number 1, stronger, higher human capital and higher productivity. Number 2 is higher returns to investment in that critical pool of human capital. Third is more productive agriculture. Educated women, for example, make better farmers, produce better, higher yields because they are more open to spread of new technology and new farming techniques. This is especially crucial here in South Asia, where agriculture absorbs more than 60% of the workforce, but makes up just less than 20% of the economy. The last macroeconomic channel I wanted to highlight for you is what we call the demographic transition, which is this impact of declining fertility playing out in the societies at large. If you can imagine, declines in both in mortality and fertility allow the working age share of the populations to grow more quickly than the overall population, and of course this leads on to increased savings as well as per capita income. So what does all this lead to at both the micro and the macro levels? It is very simple. We have calculated that by reducing this gap in in gender inequality in education and employment, you could raise trend GDP growth, the sort of average GDP growth for many of the countries in the developing world by as much as 0.2% per year. That may sound small to you, but that is very significant over a long period of time. And by narrowing the gender gap in employment, which of course is an extension of expanded female education, could push per capita income in many of these countries as much as 20% higher by the year 2030. 20% higher boost to per capita income is tremendous. So I hope some of this background, some of the statistics I've thrown at you does not get lost in the very simple message I wanted to convey to you, which is that gender equality in both education and employment, I believe, can help to accelerate economic growth, reduce poverty, and save lives. As many people before me have concluded in their academic studies around the world, if you think about all the potential investments that human beings can make in their societies, to me there's absolutely no question that investing in female education is the highest returning social investment we can make today. Finally, I see a sea of color. I wanted to give a brief message to all of the students of the Asian University for Women. Many of you I met in the hallways of the Access Academy building in Chittagong yesterday. And I just wanted to say that we are also proud of you. You must consider yourselves as true pioneers. You are true beacons of light. And please know that each and every one of you represents very significant and important agents of change, not just for your own local communities, but for this world at large. What I and many of my fellow friends from the Support Foundation witnessed yesterday in the hallways, in the classrooms, was nothing short of miraculous. I understand some of you came to Chittagong knowing very little English, but you fooled me. It was extremely impressive how much you've achieved. Please be very proud. I know many of you may be homesick, but please know, tell your parents that you made the right decision and that you altogether are going to make the impossible possible, and you're going to make dreams come true. Thank you.